I've also got some destinations set up here. Looks like I'm going to be able to share my video as well. Let's just double check that everything is going well. Looks like I am able to record. That's good. And what I'm going to do is just share a really basic stream here. And this stream will be an example of using Ipython. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen, and I'm going to share a terminal. So let's go ahead and do that and make this a little bit bigger. All right, and let's share this thing. Let's go to here. All right, and let's go ahead and highlight that. And I will go to this mode so we can see it side by side. And what I'm going to demo is some Ipython stuff here. So I'm going to type in DevOps to get to in virtual environment, and I'm going to type in Ipython. And the big thing that I wanted to talk about today is this command line version of Ipython, which many people are not using. It's the predecessor of Jupyter. And what's cool about it is that you can do some really interesting things. Like one of the things that you can do, for example, is you can write a function. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to call this one add. I'm going to put an X and a Y in here, and then I'm going to do a return, X and a Y. And this might be the easiest way that someone could program. You don't need to run Jupyter. You don't need to run Colab Notebook or anything. You can just type in Ipython in a shell if you have it installed, and then test out code. So here we go. Here's 1 and 2. And then what I can do next here is I can also, maybe go back to that function and call it again. So I can go ahead and add another thing, and let's say 4 and 5. Maybe I want to get the result of this. So let's actually say 9, right, would be 4 and 5. So pretty interesting interface here to build a lot of solutions. Now, what about going back and seeing what you've done? One thing you can do is type in who. And what who does is it shows you all the variables that have been set in your environment. And then I could actually look at the type of those. So look, in this case, that's a tuple. Or if I go to add, we can see that that's a function. So it's a neat way to actually go back to your history and kind of check out what's going on. Now, another thing that I like to do is run bash commands inside of the Ipython environment, save the variables, and then do things with them. So how would we do this? Well, what I can do is I can do output is equal to !ls-l. And then what happens here by putting this shebang line in is that I can actually store a very specific type or data type that's not available anywhere else. It's only available in Ipython. So if I go to type and I go to output, it's a ipython.utils.text.slist. And what an slist does is it has these special features on it. And one of them is grep. So if I go to grep, check this out, I can do pattern matching. So what's cool about this is I can do partial pattern matching. I can look at fields, but in general, what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in grep and then maybe look for HTML files. So maybe I want to find all the HTML files that are in my directory. There we go. You can see that I have some HTML files there. And what I could do is I could assign them to a variable, right? And now what's neat about this is I've got a new variable here, and we can see what type it is. It's a slist type, and I can actually iterate through this. So I can say, for page in HTML, why don't we go through and say, let's do slist, I found this. And I could go through and put some kind of annotation to it. So I'm able to mix the best of both worlds. So I'm able to mix, this shell programming paradigm and also mix it into Ipython. So I think that's one of the more powerful things that you can do with Ipython is actually mix these things together. Now, a couple other things that are pretty neat is you can also create an alias as well. So if I say alias ls equals ls-l. I can do something like this, and if I type in ls, right, it's going to do that ls command, or some other command as well. So there's a lot of neat little tricks here that you can get with Ipython that many people are not aware of, and I would encourage you to give it a go if you haven't tried yet. And oftentimes it can be a huge shortcut over a heavyweight editor. In fact, you can do a lot of programming that maybe would be cumbersome to try in another way. In fact, one other thing that I'll close with is a turtle module. So if I go through here and I say import turtle, things you can do is start playing around with programming things like the turtle that draws circles. So turtle.circle, and then maybe I would say 90, and then this is going to pop up later. You can't see it right in front of you, but it will draw a circle for me. So this is also kind of a neat little trick that you can use as well. And I guess I could just show you that real quick. I could share a different circle here and show you what that popped up. There we go. So here's my circle that it popped up. So in a nutshell, Ipython is a really powerful way to program. Hope you give it a try, and look forward to talking to you